Great. Apparently Zoom to Facebook has completely changed.
Claire. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you though.
So I heard getting my hair cut that they're getting a rail, the helicopter.
Yeah, I missed that.
You said taking it out with a helicopter?
Yeah, that was the visual update I got at Kate's Cuts this afternoon.
Ah,
It'd be quite a show.
Yeah.
oh. And cows on the bill. Sorry, this is incredible pain. Well, unfortunately, folks are not going to be able to see us on Facebook tonight. Yep. We can point them to our YouTube stream. I'm going to go on Facebook right now and make that post. Sorry, it's very frustrating and I'm really... I'm at the point where I'm ready to quit posting to Facebook or doing these live on Facebook because we've had so many problems with them.
I think they tend to make those changes and don't always tell everybody that it's coming.
That's exactly what happened, yeah.
That's what happened when our church was trying to, early on, when they were streaming
New Hampshire Select Board meeting for May 4th, 2021. Appreciate your patience these last 6 minutes while we figured out some technical difficulties. If you're watching us on Facebook right now, you're a magician. That's where our technical difficulty lies. We won't be live on Facebook this evening, unfortunately. So, that being said, we will not be able to take live questions as we have in the past. I'm Tyler Ward, Select Board member. Along with me are fellow Select Board members Bill Taylor and Ed Youngst. We have Town Administrator Nicole MacStay. Also joining us is Danica Melone from the Planning Department. Tim Brezovic is behind the scenes capturing all this to archive and upload and run on Comcast Channel 22. And with us tonight is Gretchen Ray taking minutes in the administrative assistant position. Our agenda consists of Danica will discuss project updates and review of board and committee activities. Nicole has several updates to fill us in on, including discussion about masks and where we are with that in town. We're going to authorize Chief Guinard to sign a police detail agreement for Miller State Park. That's always a fun thing for kids and adults alike up at the Hawk Watch up there on Hackman Avenue, right? We'll authorize Nicole MacStay to sign a Phase 1 environmental site assessment agreement for the Sawmill property. We'll let you know what that means. And then we'll reappoint Chief Edmund Walker, as health officer and Tim Herlihy as deputy health officer for the town. And then we'll review and approve minutes for April 6th of this year. We also have, really, this is what everybody's tuned in for, no doubt, the drill rig in town. I'm not even going to say anymore. I'm going to let Nicole give you an update on that.
What drill rig?
So thank you, Tyler. We have had quite a bit of discussion, as you might imagine, about removing, as of course everyone knows, I'm sure by this point, there was an accident on the job site where the drill rig that was drilling the king piles for the retaining wall portion of the project, unfortunately, it somehow became unbalanced and tipped over. No one was hurt in the accident, which is amazing, but it resulted in an incredibly large piece of equipment that is in a very small, difficult to navigate work zone, which is requiring more heavy equipment to remove it. I'm here not just to give you an update on that tonight, but also to ask the select board to make a motion to grant emergency authorization for Seth McLean and myself to enter into a contract amendment and a reimbursement agreement on behalf of the town, which is necessary for the recovery of the drilling rig. The contract amendment, which will be signed by Seth McLean, is amending our contract with Boyle Tanner Associates. They're the engineering firm on this project. The state DOT is requiring that HTA participate in the traffic detour efforts as well as assessment of the site after the drilling rig is removed to make sure that there was no damage to the work that's already been done or additional damage to the retaining wall and Route 202 as it currently exists. And the contract, the reimbursement agreement will be between the town, signed by myself, between the town and Beck and Bellucci. That's already been agreed to by Beck and Bellucci. Basically, we will initially pay HTA to do that work, and then Beck and Bellucci will reimburse us for the cost of HTA's work. We have to go through this process because it is actually the town who's a project manager on this project. Even the portion of it that has to do with solely the Route 202 reconstruction project, portion of the project, which is just the state's project. The town actually has, even though we're providing all the project management for it, we are really the intermediaries. It's the state's project. So with that, I don't know if you have any questions.
Anyone? All right.
No, so what do you need a motion? We need to, I
Yeah.
move that we authorize Nicole to,
So a motion to grant emergency authorization for Seth McLean to enter into a contract amendment with Will Tanner Associates and for Nicole MacStay to enter into a reimbursement agreement on behalf, both of which are on behalf of the town, necessary for recovery of the drilling rig at the Route 202 reconstruction project.
so moved.
I'll second it.
All right, I don't think we need any further discussion. We might as well get this going as soon as we can, because you're gonna send that by carrier pigeon right off right now when we.
I actually am, so Danica is gonna start and I'm gonna email this off so we can get this going.
Excellent. So do we have all in favor? Say aye.
Bill,
Aye, Tyler.
Great.
According to a Zoom meeting protocol, we said our names there. Great. And I encourage everybody to continue speculating on how that thing's going to get out of there and have all your fun you want and stop by and see the project safely, but don't slow down in traffic to take pictures while you're doing it. But yes, wait patiently for the outcome and see how they safely get that out.
There's some good viewing locations on the opposite side of the river, around Depot Park. And, you know, assuming it won't be closed, it may be closed, the pedestrian bridge alongside the bridge project.
Great idea. And patronize your businesses downtown while you're over there. Okay, Danica, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Seemed about time that I give everyone an update about what's going on down here with boards and committees and projects. So we'll get going with the two big ones, planning and zoning board. Zoning board and planning board members have continued doing workshops through OSI and NHMA. Zoning board has sat with our town attorney actually one time and been able to kind of pick his brain about questions, which was fantastic. Planning board and zoning board actually both went out for a site walk this past March, and it was actually at the same day, same time. Planning board has not proposed any zoning amendments for this year's town meeting, but we do plan on holding some zoning workshops over the coming year and potentially even the following, so that we can start addressing zoning issues for next town meeting. For master plan steering committee, so a subcommittee of the planning board, you might have probably seen some of the outreach materials that have been sent out. We did start that process with a community survey, which wrapped up April 16th. I'm in the final stages of analyzing all of that data. We had a lot of mailed in responses that took a little bit of time to kind of punch in there. But hopefully by the May 17th meeting for Master Plan Steering Committee, we'll be looking at all of those results, and it'll also be posted on the website if anyone's interested. One of the other things that we did with Master Plan Steering Committee was something called Zoom hotlines, where we did a daily 1-hour Zoom call for 12 days straight, including one weekend, to get some people to jump in and drop in on a call and pick their brains about vision and land use. You can read summaries of those on the town website. We did a kind of a short write-up of what we heard from folks, or if nobody came, what just the board talked about, if anyone's interested. So the next steps for us will be, we are going to be holding some collaborative sessions, so to speak. It's sort of a fluid concept where we'd like to participate with all of our boards and committees in town, and we'd like to kind of tag on to the end of their agenda to kind of have at least a short conversation about their ideas of vision and land use, but also if any members of the public are there, we'll be happy to get their input as well. So we anticipate starting that process in June, July, August. And then, of course, all of May, this month, we are doing the Peterborough Picture Project, and we're asking folks to send us pictures of what they love about this community. You can send it to me, or you can mail a picture. I'm gonna be putting together a final slideshow of what was sent in, if anyone is interested in that. Again, will also be posted on the website. And then the final thing that we're gonna be wrapping up this whole great process with is we're gonna be doing comment boards around town for the month of July. They will have a prompt on them, and the prompts will be switched out every about a week, maybe more often if they get a lot of feedback. But we will be encouraging folks to write, draw, scribble responses to the prompt on those boards. So then hopefully by end of July and going into August, we'll be really starting to draft those new chapters. Hazard Mitigation Plan Steering Committee wrapped up writing that new plan. It's currently with the State Department, so we're just kind of sitting tight waiting for them to get back to us. Knock on wood, as hoping that everything goes according to plan with them. As soon as they give us the okay, you'll see myself and Carol will be at a select board meeting presenting it to you guys. TIFs are working on some infrastructure projects. South Peterborough TIF has a few in mind that we're looking at, as well as downtown TIF, where we're gonna have some visioning paired with it to add some green space, some pedestrian infrastructure, cycling infrastructure. And we're gonna start the visioning process for that probably in early July, going into later summer. So you might see some information about that. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up was FEMA's community rating system. This is a program that the community participates in. The more activities that the town participates in, we get a certain number of points. Those points end up equaling a discount on insurance premiums for the National Flood Insurance Policy. So this past year, we have qualified to remain in a Class 8, but we are revamping outreach materials and what we are doing for activities to hopefully be a Class 7. The next verification cycle is a 5-year cycle, so it's 4 years from now. So hopefully we can do it before that 5-year cycle. That's the goal. And that's the high-level overview of what's going on down here.
That's a lot of stuff. Very busy down there.
It's busy.
All right. Anybody have any questions for any of those projects or anything happening down in that department? When is our next planning board meeting?
That will be Monday, May 10th, 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
You too. All right. Who has been up to the top of Pac-Manana to watch the hawk migration?
I have been up many times for that.
Oh, great. It's
Yeah.
great. I haven't been since our kid was littler, but, you know, fond memories.
Mhm.
But it happens every year. There's no stopping it, right?
I hope not.
Right. I would make that motion to authorize Chief Guinard to sign the police detail agreement for the Miller State Park hawk migration project.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, now, do we want to talk about this anymore?
Never again.
Oh, next year.
Every year.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Hi, Bill.
Aye, Tyler. All right. Great. Next up. Oh, wait. Nicole, you were going to do your updates.
Yep. I'll
Skipped
do
right
some.
over it. Sorry.
That's okay. We're all discombobulated today.
Yeah.
So first, I want to give you an update on our masking, supportive businesses who are continuing to require masks for individuals who patronize their businesses, as well as the town of Peterborough. Included in the packet was just the original language of the promotion, but I didn't actually have a graphic that I could share with you. I now have a final graphic. And you can see that this will be the ad that will be running in the paper. Even though it's a little tough to read on a small screen, but you'll see it full size coming very soon. There was also a nice article in today's paper about the business community's work to continue to keep themselves, their patrons, their employees safe, since COVID is still an issue around town. And of course, we, the town, you, the select board, and the EDA have joined on to this as well.
Yeah, good. Large assortment of our businesses are on there. So, and that's good. When we heard that the governor had dropped the part of the mask mandate, and there was a rush, and we all danced around. Oh, we don't have to wear masks anymore. I was concerned, and I contacted Nicole and asked if I could discuss what are we going to do? How can we make sure people are comfortable that still really want people to be wearing masks? And Chief Guinard and Chief Walker were both very kind to come in and run me through processes of what they've been doing, what has happened thus far, where we have been with positive cases, and where we're going with more and more people being vaccinated. I'm 1 week after my second vaccination. I'm very excited about that. Just one more week before I can start maybe mingling myself, but still gonna be, still gonna respect these businesses and people that are concerned about being close with unmasked people. So I appreciate their time and effort in that. And this is a good campaign, I think, again, to continue making sure everybody feels safe. It's the best we can do, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Next on my list, recycling center. You all saw today's paper already, that we will begin accepting plastics. We're accepting number 1 and number 2 plastics, bottles only. We are not accepting those clamshells, like, you would see for lettuce containers or sandwiches, that sort of thing. We're no longer accepting those plastics, just the bottles, the traditional bottle-shaped plastics. There really is no market, unfortunately, for those other shapes of plastic, other types of plastic. So those will just need to continue going into the trash compactor.
Well, but the real thing is you shouldn't use them, shouldn't buy them.
Shouldn't,
Yeah.
correct.
Right. Won't pick them
Yes.
up.
It would be great if we could just move away from those entirely.
Right. All right, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're absolutely right. Recycle, reduce and reuse always come first. Recycle is always the third option, and I think that is important to remind people is that, the first choice is to really reduce the amount of waste that we have. And we will be doing, just like we did with accepting aluminum and steel, we're going to be phasing in plastics. So first week, because we're concerned that there are people who have been holding on to them for many months, which they did with metal cans, so we think probably the same thing's happening with plastics. So people will be allowed to bring their plastics in, depending on their license plate number, for the first couple of weeks, and then after that, it'll just be, we'll accept them from everyone, regardless of license plate numbers. Next issue, I'm going to be looking for guidance from the select board on how to handle special event requests for support. You saw in your, know that you got it in your email from Tina Kriegel, a request from the Children in the Arts to provide police and fire support at no cost for the Children in the Arts Festival. In the past, Children in the Arts used to be a quasi-town organization. We, up until the end of this fiscal year, we will be managing, we'll continue and will have managed their finances for them. They've submitted a check request to us, and as a quasi-town organization, we provided the policing and emergency medical services to them for their festival at no cost. They're now asking for official support as a nonprofit going forward. They will be their own 501c3 starting on July 1st. So there's a bit of a transition going on there. But they're not the only ones that have made requests like this. Night Music in Depot Park, which is another program, is also asking for a cash contribution. They have asked for cash contributions in the past in exchange for cleaning of the parks after music festivals, but now they're really just asking for donations to the Music in the Park series. There's also a request for police support and EMS services for fireworks in the downtown. And in the past, the Night Market, Thing in the Spring, Broke Art Festival, and others have requested town support either in the form of free or reduced cost services, public safety services, or free or reduced cost townhouse rentals. So I'm not asking for an answer tonight, but since this has come up in these three things, the Children in the Arts, the Night Music in Depot Park, and the fireworks requests have all really been brought to our attention or have been requested just in the last week or so. It seems it's the right time to get you thinking about what you would like to do going forward. So of course, there isn't an election next week, and Ed will no longer be with us, and the new select board member will be coming on, but I expect that that's, future select board member will have seen this discussion, and hopefully will be thinking about, you know, how the town should be supporting events like this, how they would like to see that. Because we really need to make sure that this is uniform. Whatever decisions we make, they need to apply across the board. So, and whatever, you know, guidelines or, you know, whatever standards we're going to apply, we're going to try to apply uniformly.
Right, and certainly, you know, all of these events and you know, they're great for the town. People love them. They really enhance all of our lives. And so, and several of them have been around quite some time. And the town has supported them in different ways. And so, yeah, it would be good to figure some kind of plan, whether it's if you've been around 5 years or more, you're sustainable and you can, and the town can offer this much maybe, or, you know, or do we put it up to the voters? Do we put a line item for the budget that says nonprofits that do events in town or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either, because there's a lot of different options to be, you know, and, you know, it's important to keep in mind that there is a cost to the town, there's a cost to the voters, the taxpayers, there is a cost, you know, in terms of staff time. You know, these are special duty, you know, shifts that need to be filled. So, you know, and you can't just, you know, have your regular duty shift, you know, for instance, you know, your ambulance crew, you can't take them off. You have to have an additional ambulance crew come on, for instance, or additional police officers come on, because you still need to, you know, provide the regular service for the rest of the town, you know, in the meantime. So, it's a lot to think about, and I'm really raising this, like I said, just to get you thinking about it. If you have any questions in particular that you'd like to ask, if any research on the topic you'd like us to do, let me know, and we'll start working on that. And my goal is to incorporate this topic into the Selectmen's Retreat that we'll do later this spring.
That's good. So, like a donated police detail, that would have to come out of the police department budget, right? So we gotta involve both.
Unless like Tyler suggested, you have a line item that you would pay for that special detail out of.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Children in the Arts had a commitment from the town for last year's events that ended up not happening. Are we considering our commitment to that for this upcoming year for them, or are they? I can't remember. I read this statement, but I can't remember if they are having an event.
I have to relook at it, because there were some things that we were talking about last year. We stopped talking about them, you know, as things got crazy last year, and it became obvious that we weren't going to be able to support anything due to COVID. So we'll look at. I mean, at some point we are turning over their funds to them. That's already in the works. Essentially, what we'll be doing is writing them a check for whatever remains at the end of this fiscal year in their escrow account, and that'll be that.
Okay. Any other questions for that topic?
All right, and then the last thing is just to let you know that I have posted the finance director position that is being broadcast nationwide. I've gotten a couple of applications. Fortunately, those are all people with New Hampshire experience, which is really what we're hoping to get, is someone who already understands the quirks of doing finance in New Hampshire. But just let you know that process is open. We'll be accepting applications through the end of the month. And the goal is to have someone in place by mid-July, so they have a few weeks of overlap before Leo retires. Leo has been kind enough to say that he will, you know, stick around and support, you know, the transition, but he's still pretty firm on retiring.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's a tough loss. He really kind of whipped us into shape with the new software and got us on our feet. So, yeah.
He really did. He did. He was tremendous.
Well,
Good.
good,
With a million other things in there.
right. Yeah. So, well, good for him. He can retire, and thank you, Leo, so much for sticking around to make sure this is a good transition. All right, great.
So the next thing is to authorize me to sign the Phase 1 environmental site assessment agreement for the Sawmill property with Geo Insight, what's it? GCA? Geo Insight, I think.
Phase, yeah. Yeah, so want to give us a brief discussion of this?
Sure. So we worked out an arrangement with the Harris Center, who owns the conservation easement on the property on Elm Street. We are looking to take that property for the expansion of the fire stations that are located at the corner of Elm Street and Route 101. So it's that bit of property there. Part of that arrangement is going to be an exchange of conservation land, so we're going to take that. It will no longer be under the Harris Center. It will be, once again, be town of Peterborough property. And we'd like to give them the old Sawmill property, which will be called because there's an old sawmill on the property, or the remains thereof. It's off of Old Greenfield Road. It's a really beautiful piece of property. They're very interested in it. Their concern, though, is that much of the old sawmill equipment was essentially abandoned on the site. So they're a bit concerned that there may have been some environmental impacts in that location. And so they'd like to have an assessment done, which of course we agreed to.
I did notice that they say the intersection of Route 133 and Greenfield Road.
137.
Oh, okay.
137, yeah.
We'll have the typo in there. Okay, that's what I was confused. All right.
137.
Or 36, whichever it is there.
Yeah,
The
137.
137's in Dublin, 136 is I get them confused all the time. So it's 136.
Isn't 136 Greenfield Road? It's the
Yes.
same-
That's right.
it's not
Greenfield Road
under-
and Old Greenfield Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we don't have a map to show us all where that is.
I do not have a map prepared, I'm sorry.
Well, that's part of the scavenger hunt for this meeting. Everybody who is figuring out how they're gonna get that drill rig up the hill can now go find that property and check it out. All right, well, I would make a motion to authorize you to sign that assessment agreement with Phase 1 Environmental.
Thank you.
I'll start with that.
All right, Ed, any objection?
No, I'm good with that.
All right.
I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, good. Agreed, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
I, Ed,
And I, Tyler. Yeah, that's one more step towards that, figuring out that site for the fire station and on that corner there.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Can we have Ed do something pretty important before the meeting's over, since it might be his last one? Like, at least make a motion or something, Ed.
well, I did want to say a few things. I really have enjoyed serving with all of you, and the town staff that I've, come in contact with. But particularly want to give a lot of credit to Bill and Tyler. I think you're both great select board members and just what the town needs. And to Nicole, and I tried most weeks to do my usual check-in with her and spend an hour or sometimes more catching up on things, and sometimes giving advice, sometimes receiving it. And I enjoyed that a lot. So the town is fortunate, it's well managed, and I was honored to be asked, Tyler, when you called me. And you were right, however, that there were some critical things we had to deal with. And between the pandemic and everything else, but it's been interesting and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I did it to help out the town.
Yeah, thank you for stepping in and helping us out. And it was a good choice, yeah. Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Well, it was a pleasure.
You know, speaking of volunteering and stepping up, I do want to say, speaking of that Sawmill property, there is someone that may know something about that Sawmill property, and we had the pleasure Sunday of stopping over at Gordon Kemp's house to hand him off the sign that said Kemp Road that we renamed the End of Hunt Road there for a while back, and with the pandemic and other reasons we couldn't get with him to actually present it to him. So he was very pleased, and it was very emotional. And there were several people there from the Rotary Club, right? They were
The Lions Club.
Lions Club, sorry. Well, I'm sure the Rotary Club would have been there too, but the Lions Club, right? They were doing work over there and helping out. So it was a really nice event. Bill and I got to get over there and say hi to him and thank him for his historical knowledge and all his service to the town on so many committees and as a selectman. So yeah, call him up and ask him about the that Sawmill property.
Gordon did call me the other night and thanked me for the, I wrote some things, some recognizing him, some personal about how much he helped me, and he really did. I mean, I learned so much about budgets and things to do and how to ask questions and what to look for. And, it was a big help to me when I got to be a select board member the first time.
Yeah, that is a big help to have someone like that. So, yeah, his service will be missed, and all the rest of us have to try and fill that hole.
Fill it in.
Yeah. So Ed, would you like to make a motion to reappoint Chief Walker and Tim Herlihy?
Yep, and I actually have a couple more appointments, and I think this is quite fitting, because we'll have Ed, if you be kind enough to make that motion. You can also make a motion to appoint some new faces, bring some new faces onto some town committees. We have Laura Shea joining as a member of South Peterborough TIP Advisory Committee, Keith Ackerley as an alternative member of the South Peterborough TIP Advisory Committee, and Nicholas Zotto as a member of the EDA.
So, yes, I would make a motion to approve all of those that have been mentioned. I'm not sure if I remember them all. But I think they're being recorded and they'll be in the minutes properly. So I'm happy to make that motion. We approve them all. And I know a number of them. I know them all, and they're good choices.
Second.
Bill seconded. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I am.
Aye, Tyler. Great. Yeah, more volunteers joining up. That's excellent. I would like to remind everybody that a week from today is our voting session. It's at the Community Center on Elm Street from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Please check out the weekly dispatch that went out by email today. It's also on the Facebook page, and you'll get some more information about absentee ballots. You can return them up until the 10th, correct? That's Monday. And then right. And plenty of people running for offices, which is great. People looking to get involved, so that's exciting. And there will be no losers, because everybody who does not get the highest number of votes can also possibly be alternatives or volunteers some other way. So that is exciting. And yeah, other things in the weekly dispatch, there's something about a fishing derby. Definitely check it out.
And just to clarify, if you want to hand in your absentee ballot, it has to be to the town clerk's office by the end of the day on Monday, next Monday. Otherwise, it has to be received in the mail by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. And the town clerk does run down to grab the mail at 5 o'clock to make sure she has all the absentee ballots. Otherwise, you'll need to bring it to the voting location at the community center. And one last thing, we do have a set of minutes from April 6th to approve.
Were those Ally Croyd's last set of minutes?
I believe so, yes.
I move that we approve those as read.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye, Bill.
I Ed.
Aye, Tyler. Once again, good minutes, thorough, and Congratulations to Ally and James.
Yeah, that's exciting.
They're not her last minutes, it's just her most recent minutes.
Correct.
Correct.
Coming back.
Right. Synonyms. All right, everyone, thanks so much. If anybody's watching right now, please tune in at 6:30, find the Zoom link somehow for the candidates forum. They're doing zoning board and planning board this evening, if I'm correct.
You are.
And that's run by, that's not affiliated with the town, that's the
League of Women
voters
Voters.
and the ledger transcript. They did a great job on the last one, which had select board and, what was the other one? Town clerk.
Town clerk.
My goodness, so 1 week and I'm already forgetting. Okay,